The morning begins like any other on Lorraine Kelly's cheerful daytime show, but the energy in the studio shifts as legendary singer Cliff Richard steps onto the set. Dressed impeccably and carrying the calm confidence of a decades-long icon, he takes his seat opposite Lorraine. Their greeting seems polite, friendly even, yet there's a faint tension behind Cliff's smile, hinting that today's interview might take an unexpected turn. Lorraine opens with warm questions about Cliff's new music and recent performances. Cliff answers graciously, sharing stories with his usual charm. But the mood changes when Lorraine touches on a controversial interview he gave earlier in the year. Cliff's smile thins instantly. He gently reminds her that his words were twisted out of context, but Lorraine presses, saying viewers were curious about the remarks. Cliff responds firmly, stating that the media often spins narratives that overshadow his actual intentions. Lorraine counters that transparency is part of being a public figure. Cliff raises an eyebrow and replies that transparency isn't the same as being picked apart like a headline buffet. The crowd reacts with a surprised murmur, sensing the first spark of heat. Trying to steady the conversation, Lorraine shifts to a question about Cliff's long journey in the music industry. But he uses the opportunity to express frustration with how interviews tend to focus on drama rather than artistry. Lorraine insists her show is built on positivity and honest conversation. Cliff replies sharply that honesty doesn't always feel positive, especially when it's framed in a way meant to provoke. Lorraine, trying to stay composed, gently challenges Cliff's claim. She notes that celebrities often avoid addressing topics fans genuinely want clarity on. Cliff shakes his head and insists that fans care more about the music than recycled controversies. Lorraine pushes back, arguing that public life naturally attracts scrutiny. Cliff responds that scrutiny isn't the same as storytelling, and sometimes it crosses a line. The energy intensifies when Lorraine reads a viewer question asking Cliff about a past disagreement with another artist. Cliff immediately stiffens and says he won't discuss old gossip from decades ago. Lorraine maintains a polite smile but points out that it's part of his history. Cliff fires back that not every chapter of his life deserves to be reopened on live TV. The audience again falls quiet. Lorraine attempts to steer things back by mentioning Cliff's recent charity work, but Cliff interrupts, clearly annoyed. He says he wishes interviews would focus on contributions instead of controversies. Lorraine replies that a balanced interview requires addressing all aspects, good and bad. Cliff's tone sharpens as he accuses her of caring more about click-worthy drama than genuine conversation. At this point, Lorraine's patience begins to crack. She sits up straighter and firmly states that guests on her show are expected to engage respectfully with questions. Cliff retorts that respect goes both ways, and if he feels ambushed, he has no obligation to continue. Lorraine calmly replies that ambush isn't her style, but avoiding fair questions isn't professionalism either. The tension peaks. Lorraine subtly signals her producers, and the cameras begin to zoom out. Cliff notices and stands abruptly, adjusting his jacket. "If this is the direction the interview is going, I think I'll excuse myself," he says sharply. Lorraine maintains her broadcast composure, replying, "That's entirely your choice, Cliff." Without another word, he walks off the set, leaving the studio frozen in stunned silence as the show cuts quickly to commercial. Within minutes, social media erupts. Clips of the confrontation spread across every platform, sparking debates over who was at fault. Fans defend Cliff's boundaries, others praise Lorraine for staying composed, and countless viewers dissect every second of the fiery exchange. In just hours, the fictional moment becomes one of the most talked about live TV shocks ever imagined, proof that even the brightest morning show can ignite into unforgettable drama.